In the heart of Washington, D.C. on a warm summer day, July 4th, 2025, something historic happened. Fireworks lit the sky, flags waved with pride. And on the south lawn of the White House, President Donald J. Trump stood before the nation with a pen in one hand and a towering stack of paper in the other. This was no ordinary document. It was a sweeping, ambitious piece of legislation that he proudly called the One Big Beautiful Bill. But what was this bill? Why did it matter so much? And how did it come to reshape America's future? Let's go back. The story didn't begin on the 4th of July. It began years earlier during Trump's first term. From 2017 to 2020, Trump laid the groundwork. Tax cuts, deregulation, military investments, and strict immigration enforcement. His supporters hailed him as a bold reformer. His critics called him divisive. Yet one thing was clear: he had changed the game. After losing the 2020 election, Trump remained a powerful figure in American politics. By 2024, he was back, campaigning harder than ever, calling for a return to what he called common-sense conservatism. He won, and with Republicans regaining control of both the House and Senate, the stage was set. By early 2025, Trump was pushing what would become his signature legislative achievement, a comprehensive reform package that bundled tax policy, national defense, border security, and entitlement reform into one massive bill. Known as H.R. 1, insiders quickly dubbed it the Big Beautiful Budget Bill. Behind the scenes, staffers worked day and night. Congressional aides pored over spreadsheets, forecasts, and polling data. Lobbyists flooded Capitol Hill. Defense contractors, oil companies, and business associations lined up in support. Progressive organizations and advocacy groups braced for battle. The bill was more than 1,000 pages. It permanently extended the 2017 tax cuts. It increased military spending by over $160 billion. It slashed Medicaid and food assistance. It rolled back environmental regulations. And it introduced new work requirements for recipients of federal benefits. In May, the House of Representatives passed the bill by a single vote, 215 to 214. The debate was fiery. Democrats accused Republicans of gutting safety nets. Republicans said they were saving the country from bankruptcy. In the Senate, things were even tenser. Senators huddled in back rooms, hashing out last-minute deals. Libertarians like Rand Paul warned about rising debt. Moderates like Susan Collins demanded protections for rural hospitals. Trump personally called senators, offering political support or threats. On July 1st, the Senate vote was 50-50. Vice President J.D. Vance cast the tie-breaking vote. The chamber erupted, half in cheers, half in outrage. Just 2 days later, the House approved the final version. And on July 4th, with patriotic music playing and a crowd of supporters gathered, Trump signed the bill into law. So what exactly did the One Big Beautiful Bill include? Let's break it down. First, taxes. The bill locked in Trump's 2017 cuts. The corporate tax rate stayed at 21%. Individual income brackets were slightly lowered. The standard deduction increased. And for the first time ever, tips and overtime pay became tax-exempt. Small businesses saw new credits. Family-owned farms and pass-through entities received extra relief. Trump declared it the biggest tax break for workers and job creators in history. But critics warned that most of the benefits went to the wealthy. The top 1% saw thousands in annual savings. Middle-income families got modest gains. Lower-income Americans, especially those relying on government aid, felt left behind. Then, spending. The military budget grew by $160 billion. Trump championed a new missile defense initiative dubbed the Golden Dome, designed to protect against hypersonic threats. Shipbuilding, aircraft modernization, and cyber defense all received massive boosts. Department of Homeland Security received $45 billion in new funding. ICE hiring doubled. Border patrols expanded. Facial recognition systems, drones, and automated checkpoints were rolled out across the southern border. Meanwhile, federal spending on healthcare and nutrition was cut drastically. Medicaid faced a $1 trillion reduction over 10 years. Work requirements were introduced. Beneficiaries needed to work 80 hours per month. SNAP, commonly known as food stamps, was cut by $185 billion. Eligibility tightened. Millions of Americans stood to lose access. Rural hospitals, already under pressure, warned of closures. Nonprofits began preparing for increased demand. In the energy sector, the bill reversed many green energy incentives. Tax credits for solar and wind projects were eliminated. Oil and gas subsidies returned. Drilling on federal lands resumed. Environmentalists called it a climate catastrophe. But energy executives praised the move. Stocks for fossil fuel companies surged. Job openings in traditional energy expanded. The economic impact was swift. Markets soared. Business investment increased. Defense firms signed multi-billion-dollar contracts. But inflation remained stubborn, and the national debt ballooned. The Congressional Budget Office warned that the bill could add $2.8 trillion to the deficit. Trump's economic advisors countered that growth would offset the costs. Economists were divided. Some predicted a boom. Others feared a bust. Reactions across the country varied by region and class. In places like Texas, Florida, and Ohio, the bill was celebrated. Business owners and veterans praised the defense spending. Blue-collar workers appreciated the tax breaks on overtime and tips. In California, New York, and Illinois, protests erupted. Healthcare workers walked off the job. Students organized rallies. Homeless shelters prepared for surging demand. News coverage was polarized. Fox News called it the comeback of American greatness. MSNBC called it a betrayal of the vulnerable. Polls reflected the divide. Pew Research found 49% opposed the bill, 29% supported it, and 22% were unsure. Among Republicans, support was strong. Among Democrats, opposition was overwhelming. For Trump, it was a legacy-defining moment. At the July 4th signing ceremony, he declared, "This bill is not just beautiful, it's historic. We are cutting taxes, securing our borders, rebuilding our military, and putting Americans back to work." In the months that followed, the consequences became real. States began implementing Medicaid work requirements. Some delayed enforcement. Others moved aggressively. Thousands received warnings. Many were dropped. Hospitals reported funding shortfalls. Nonprofits scrambled to provide food and medicine. Churches organized donation drives. Cities like Detroit, St. Louis, and Birmingham declared public health emergencies. Meanwhile, defense contractors expanded. Hiring boomed in cities with military bases. The aerospace industry reported record profits. In the energy world, fracking returned to places like Pennsylvania and North Dakota. Oil rigs went back online, but in Arizona and Nevada, solar companies shut down. The nation felt the divide. It was prosperity for some, pain for others. As the 2026 midterms approached, the bill became the dominant issue. Every candidate had to take a stance. Was it progress or disaster? Republicans ran on growth, freedom, and security. Democrats ran on health care, fairness, and climate. Debates turned fierce. TV ads flooded the airwaves. Town halls overflowed. Families argued at the dinner table. By the end of 2025, the One Big Beautiful Bill wasn't just a law. It was a line in the sand. It defined the political battlefield. It forced Americans to ask, what kind of country do we want to be? And that, perhaps, was its greatest impact. It wasn't just about dollars and programs. It was about values, about vision, about who we are. Trump saw it as a rescue mission. His opponents saw it as a wrecking ball. Time will decide which it was. But one thing is clear. The One Big Beautiful Bill was a turning point. A bold gamble. A new chapter. chapter in America's long, complex story, signed with pride, fought over with passion, lived through by millions. It was, in every sense, one big, beautiful bill.